Mr. Thomas, welcome back to weeks of Foreign Friday. That's been a while since we've gone back to back, Tom.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah,
life gets in the way sometimes.
That's unfortunately true, right? We had a decent week last week at Paris Longchamp on both days. I think between you and I, we had the winner somewhere in every single race that we talked about,
which is pretty impressive because we're a little chalky at times, and then there were some interesting ones. Of course, Ace Impact blew everybody away.
Yes. It was a fun day. I had fun watching those races. I forgot for a little while as I got mixed up doing something else. But when you have 8, what do we do? 10, 11 races, something like
11.
that?
We did 11, yeah.
Well, I did 10. You did 11. But in the 10, the 11 that we did, the one race that I didn't do, you pegged. So that was, we were 11 for 11. We had the winner in all of them. So hopefully we can do the same. We're going to cover a couple of tracks today. The first one we're going to do is Newmarket. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any data for Newmarket.
Yeah, you've got it. You just go into for where the predictor is.
On the predictor here.
Racing Post.
There's a predictor.
And there's the race. And then you should go to, that's perfect. That's the race.
Well, I have information like this. I'm talking about information to handicap from.
Oh,
yes. Because there's certain things. Settings. Well, we'll work on this, you and I, later.
Yeah. I mean, if people are interested, we probably should show them anyways.
All right. So racingpost.com, you hit settings.
And then you put in condition form. You want the form for sure. And race conditions is always useful.
Yes.
And there will be some comments. So you may want to put comments. If you're interested in pedigree, you can do that. And then there's price history and all that. You have to decide whether you want that stuff or not. Then hit done. And that'll
voila, look at that. Now I did not have that. That would be helpful. It's still not necessarily the stuff that I look at, but still it is definitely, I think, and be more useful than what I was using before. So
I mean, and if people go on this website, because there's, you can subscribe to this. It's not cheap, incidentally. But there's some good data here, and it's well worth the effort because these guys cover it as well as any of them, I think.
So you mentioned Newmarket. We might as well start at Newmarket since we have it up on the screen, Thomas. It is a British Champions Series race, which is essentially their sort of version of our Triple Crown, right?
No, this is more like the win you're in type races, I think would be probably more accurate.
Okay.
Recognized important. These are important races based on their most, these are they're group ones, but there can be a mixture of, it could be a maiden or a novice race, or it could be a group one. So there's a wide range.
All right. So the first, we're going to do only one race here. It's the Virginia Bet Sun Chariot Stakes. It's a mile. Let's take a look at the Newmarket course. 1 mile. Is this just on the straightaway right down here?
We're on the rolling course. So
this one right here, right?
Straightaway.
Right. I like the shape of this one. It's just an interesting shape for a racetrack. It's like that we got a spot of land and let's just make a track fit in it somehow.
Well, and the way the rumor was that the king drove up there and said, "Oh, this would be a nice place to have a racetrack." And of course, this is one of the more famous areas for horse the breeding and training. This is one of the big areas in England. So,
well, what the king decrees,
there are 2 courses here too. So
what the king Julian decrees, the king indeed gets. If I saw that movie Madagascar. So at a mile on the straightaway here, Tom, we got some undulations downhill and uphill. Any particular place that's the most strategic place to be for the horses?
Well, I mean, I prefer tucked in with some cover on this track. But saying that, I would say there are a couple races before this one, so you may want to watch those and see what's if there's any trends or tendencies in this race for this race. And we got Group 1. Important reason to do this race, of course, is, besides a huge favorite, they're talking about for that huge favorite, number 3 in Spiral, to bring her to the Breeders' Cup,
which is just a month away. So,
yeah.
And we'll have some more information.
This would be her prep if she does well here. She
Off
will
to Santa Anita she goes.
Yeah, it looks like Gosden will send her.
And we'll have some more information about what we're going to do. We're going to try to do something very special for the Breeders' Cup, and we'll let you know indeed when that announcement will be made. In the meantime, today over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet for tomorrow's big races at Keeneland, we do have a wagering guide up. Did a lot of homework on that. I expect that we'll have a really strong day at Keeneland. Big day of racing too at Santa Anita and Belmont at Aqueduct. You were mentioning the Breeders' Cup. There are a ton of win and you're in races tomorrow. Make sure you get all of those selections. There's a link in the description down below for Guaranteed Tip Sheet. Kindly use that so they know where you're coming from. All right, Thomas, where are you coming from on this race?
Master of the Sea is running foreign horse. James Doyle is over to ride for Charlie Appleby. One to take a look at in that.
Yeah, I saw that. But, in the race before that, I think William Buick rode the horse before, maybe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, Buick's got some rides at Ascot.
So the only time the guy Doyle rode the horse in the last 10 times, the horse had its worst performance. So I don't know if that means anything, but anyway, who's going to have the best performance at Newmarket?
Maybe James is really over to go see his sister Sophie and his niece.
Could be.
I never know.
What do we got in this one?
And with that, I am taking the even money favorite in Spiral. It's my top choice, number 3 with draw 3. She won her last start at Deauville in a Group 1. She's mainly a mile runner, and she's done it again in Group 1 successes along with against the boys. She comes into this race in excellent shape. There's no question about that. And if in fact the next race on her schedule, if she does well here, is the Breeders' Cup, she would be definitely one to consider very seriously. Number 2. Heredita is going to be my next choice. It's draw 8. She's won her last 2. One was at Sandown in her Group 3, and the other was an enlisted race at Haydock. Both these races are at 1 mile. Yes, this is a huge step up. She's never run in a Group 1 before, but she's definitely in form, and I think it's not a bad place to see what you got. Finally, I'm going to take the French horse, number 4, Mesquite de Sauvage. Has draw 7. Winner of the last 2 at Deauville at 1 mile, and then a little over 1 mile. Both these were on the soft going. She's run first or second in all of her races this season in France, so I don't think there's a question about form in this horse. She's done it on good going, and she's done it on soft. This is an Andre Fabre trained horse. I think the straight mile will be interesting for this one, but also is Andre Fabre thinking Breeders' Cup too?
Now, you mentioned she's done well on the soft and the good course. We'll point out that the going right now is good. So I don't know that I'll see anything change in that between here and there. Tom, what about
there's nothing in the forecast right now that both tracks should be good.
So we have something here. Absolutely. One of my favorite parts to do with the 4 Fridays. Let's see. Tom likes the 3, the 2, the 4. I didn't get any work. So I'm just going to claim the predictor's picks as mine. How about that? There we go. So here's what I picked, folks. Boom. I picked the Inspiral, Heredia, and then it looks like I have Coppice. Those are my 3 picks right there, Tom. Hopefully the predictor has things on target this weekend so it can make me look smart or make me look stupid, which I do a pretty good job of myself doing.
Neither of us need any help in that.
Now we're going to jump on over to Ascot, where we have some experience there. We're going to do race number 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first up is the Blue Eagle ROUS Stakes. This one is 5 furlongs. So a quick sprint on there, 5 furlongs. They're going to start here. And on this, I don't know what it kind of looks like one of those tools that you use to pop the sim out of your phone shaped course. Another one, we're going to run uphill, then they're going to level off and then downhill at the finish line, Tom. Once again, on these straight runs, a lot of times you see them do like Moses and part the seas. you expect to see that here, or do you think because of the good nature of the track, they'll just run straight?
I think they're going to be going down the middle. Again, let's see. We don't know how it's going to play, but I think a lot of these races, this isn't a huge field. I think you're going to see it. I mean, we do have one race with a big field, but the rest of them are pretty modest by comparison to our 26 and plus horses.
To what we're used to. Yeah, I felt like we were doing like parks or something this weekend versus doing English racing.
Yeah, well, we got one with 18, so that's that'll help.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit of practice for when the Kentucky Derby comes. Yeah. All right, Thomas.
And then we should point out that the gate is going to be on the stand side.
All right.
So I'm assuming that's where the better going is right now. But when they walk that course in the morning with the trainers and jockeys and whomever, and again, you can look at the going stick, and they do have data on Ascot's website about the track conditions. So it may be worthwhile taking a look, because you never know. And with that, this is a listed race for Class 1 horses. So we're going to take number 4, Nymphadora, as my first top choice. Draw number 9. Missed by a neck last time out in Group 3. That was at Newbury. After, she had some, she had some disappointing efforts. But they were against a Breeders' Cup bound Living in the Dream, and Group 1 winner, who just won in France, Highfield Princess. So last time I checked, those are pretty good horses.
Yeah, pretty solid, I'd say.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting to see that she's been running against that kind of she's been running that kind of company. I mean, she had some early success. She won a listed race at York, and she also won at Chester, and she is dropping a little bit in class here for this listed race. So I'm going to put her on top. Maybe won't get a big price, but get something maybe.
Yeah, it looks like about 3-1. That's not bad.
No. Number 9, Zoodoo Spirit is going to be my next choice. Has draw 9. She's been racing in France with some success. Her last win was at Toulouse at 6 furlongs in May, though. I should point out that Toulouse would be considered a provincial track, so it's not a major track like St. Cloud or Chantilly or Prairie Longchamp. Since that race, she's run 5 times, and her best finish is being second. I mean, she's been pretty consistent. Her 2 races at 5 furlongs where she had a 3rd and a 6th, and those are enlisted company. The point here is that she's been purchased and brought to the UK. So this will be our first start for the new connections, and I wouldn't be surprised to see her hit there, and she should get a little bit of a price on this one. Finally, I'm going to take number 2, Amaretta Anna, is my final choice. There's draw 2. Last 2 races are showing improvement. He was second to Lazoo in a listed race, and then 3rd to Comanche Falls at York. Again, both these are group winners, so that's important to know. And both these races were at 6 furlongs. So we're going to drop back a little. Hasn't won since 2021, though, but has run second in the Breeders' Cup last year in the Turf Sprint at a very big price. Will attract money, no question, but I don't see it winning.
It's a good thing you send me your notes beforehand, Tom. Otherwise, I wouldn't know who to pick in this race, because I went with the 4 horse on top. And Nymphadora, this one seems to run well in bunches and ran a much improved race in the prior pair, from the prior pair. So last time out, a really good race, and the 2 before that were just absolute stinkers. Yeah. Number 9, same order as you, Zoodoo Spirit, got 4 wins overall in its career. The last 2 of them were in the first start after a layoff, just like today. And then I'm going to also go with the 2 horse, Amaretta Anna. Likely favorite in here, Tom. It looks like it is the favorite right now.
Should be.
But the horse does seem to favor the distance. 8 times out, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds. So not at all off put by the short sprint, but doesn't seem to like Ascot. Ran there twice, and so far hasn't had a win or a placing. So where we're going to differ, maybe, Tom, I don't know who your 4th pick would have been. Who would your 4th pick would have been?
Garris.
All right.
So not Garris. I'm sorry, that's the wrong race. Rage of Bambi.
All right, so that would have been your next pick. My next pick is the 6 horse. Glamorous Breeze. That's where we break off. If you look at the past performances, nothing wrong in the last 5. Looks like the horse has found its form. It is moving up in class in here, but it is also one of the few in this race that have run across Ascot and done so with some success. 3 times out, a second and a third. So 4-9-2 for me and Tom. I'm going to put the 6th and 4th. Tom's going to put the 7th and 4th. And let's see where the predictor puts in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And they're off. Down the stretch they come. Bang. That's the quickest race in American or English history. Nymphadora is your winner. It looks like Corker, one that neither of us have, is in there as well. Designer in there for 3rd. So outside of Nymphadora being on top and Emery Anna being somewhere in the distance from the rest of the top finishers, looks like the predictor doesn't agree with you or I, Tom.
That isn't the first time.
Doesn't matter. We usually do better than the predictor anyway. Next up on our list of things to do today on this Friday, Foreign Friday, is Ascot race number 2. 1 mile and 4 furlongs, or in English, 1.5 miles. 1.5 miles, Tom. It looks like they're going to start right here, go downhill, then they're going to level out. They're going to make looks like a pretty sweeping turn, come down that speedy rise or steady rise, go up that steady rise, make what looks like a kind of a tightish turn into the stretch, run uphill, flatten out, and then go back downhill to the finish line. A lot of undulations, tight turns, wide turns. What's the best position to be in?
Generally the closers are going to be the ones you're going to want to look for. Front runners generally don't hold up.
They don't have the legs for it. In France, though, I saw a lot of horses get up to the front and stay up the front. And maybe with the good track might be one of the reasons why.
Made a heck of a difference.
What's that?
I think the track conditions very unusual for this time of year, because usually the arc is running heavy or just mucky or yuck.
So race 1, you like the 3, huh, Christopher? All right. In race number 1, the 3 and the 7 at Ascot. Going to go with the morning line odds, 3-7-2 and the 7-5-1. What are you going to go with in race 2, Christopher? And what are you going to go with?
They're not morning line odds. These are whatever. Those are the Betfair odds right now. We can, of course, change that. Our pool is different than, of course, their pools.
These are... Well, we can go with the best odds so we have a better sense of what the best odds are. All right, what do you got in this race?
I'm going to take number 6, Fortino. It's draw number 7. It's a
I'm going 33-1. That's the Tom I know.
It's a John Gosden import from Chile. And the first start was on the all-weather in a Group 3 at Kempton, and it did absolutely nothing. But it has great form coming in from Chile. It is, 11 starts, 8 wins, and 3 seconds. I think it needed a race. Based on who's training and who's involved in the horse, you got to think they got something here. And so I'm going to take a chance and see if they do have something. This is a Chilean Derby winner and a few other big races there. So it's definitely a good horse. And we've seen plenty of Chilean horses come up, especially on the fillies and mare side, and do some unbelievable things. Number 3, Al-Khim is going to be my next choice. Layoff since running at Dubai in March. It came back and it won it at Chester by a neck. It's a Group 1 winner in France at longer distances. But the last race, he definitely looks like he came back to form right away with that win. And so this is the kind of horse that will sit with the leaders and then pounce. And finally, I'm going to take number 1, Ishra, with draw 5. It's ran the same race as my top choice, interestingly enough, and it finished right in front of it. And it was on all weather, and it did nothing. I should point out who won that race was Bay Bridge, which is a pretty good horse. Interestingly, this year he beat in a Group 2. This horse beat Aladar, who was the Derby winner the year before at Newmarket, and it's run okay. Last race was probably its worst. I think it's going to be the betting favorite, but this is going to be one of those races where you could get some good prices, or you could get really the 2 will be the big favorite, and everybody else will be interesting. So we'll see what happens.
Well, where you left off, I'm going to start up with Israr. This one seems to do some of its best work in the second start after a layoff. Been across the Ascot course a couple of times, finished third in both of them. Likes the distance as well, in the money 100% of the time, a win, a second, and a couple of thirds. Just like the fact that it's making its second start. Seems to be the best of the cycle for that one. You mentioned the favorite, the 2-horse LSA. That is the second choice for me. It's in great form right now, particularly in those last 3 races. Just kind of looking through the past performances, though, I wonder if it regressed a little bit last time out. So maybe peaked and heading down a little bit. Although at the distance, he's been really difficult. 9 times out, 4 wins and 3 seconds. The next horse for me is the 4-horse. 11-1 at the moment. Claymore. 1 for 1 at Ascot. That was on a good track. And then this is going to be the first start after a layoff. And he did really well in 2 of the last 3 times coming out of the barn after a little R&R. And then finally, number 7, Las La Astronome. 20-1 shot right there for the lucky number 7 coming out of post number 2. This one's making its second start after a layoff. And the last couple of times that this horse made a second start in a 2-race cycle, guess what he did, Thomas? He won both of them. So 1, 2, 4, 7 for me in race number 2 at Ascot. And do we have any agreement with the predictor today? Looks like there's a clear winner, and it is Israr, the 1-horse. Al Karim is in second there, but it sure looks like to me like Al Karim. I'm questioning the judges on the photo on this one, Tom.
Yeah, they may have had the camera in the wrong angle.
It sure looks like it to me. Al SA comes in third, and then you have, it looks like Postiello, and then Fortino and Yukon Glen, some of the other horses that we talked about. Not making this list, Tom. So once again, I'm disappointed by the predictor. It's inability to get things right. Come on, get that algorithm on target. Next up for us will be on target, is in race number 3 at Ascot. This one is a 6 furlong. This is the John Guest Racing Benno Stakes. 6 furlongs. Again, we're going to go back to that straight run right down the straightaway there, Thomas. Again, pay attention to the other races early on that go down that straight. Well, the first race anyway, down that straightaway, and get a sense of where you want to be on the track, in the gates, and where the best going is on the track. Because a lot of these tracks, sometimes they do have big differences. Sometimes you see them like split apart, like I said, and the one side is out front and they go real fast, and then the other side is real far behind, but they close hard at the end. So keep an eye on that in the first race and see how that plays out. How do you think this one's going to play out, Tom?
I'm going to take number 6 of a Dream. Draw 5 is my top choice. He won a Group 3 at 5 furlongs in May at Newmarket, and he beat Breeders' Cup bound Living in the Dream in that race. And then he's done absolutely nothing since. But he's been running against Group 1 and Group 2 horses, which generally means they've got. So there's a little bit of a drop down. He hasn't raced since July, so a refresh, I think, helps. He's done okay at 6 furlongs with 3 wins from 14, and I'm looking for an upsetter here. Number 2, Garris, is my next choice with draw 10. Not much last out at Haydock in a Group 1, but he had a little bit of trouble in that race, and it was near towards the end. He just didn't finish. The race before was a strong second in a Group 3 at Deauville in France, and then a nice second also in France at Paris-Longchamp, also in a Group 3. It's a beaten favorite in a Group 3 in April in Newmarket, but again had issues. So I'm hoping no issues, and we'll see if if he can get out a little bit of a clean run. He's going to be on the outside, which is a little bit of a concern because that gate is going to be set on the rail side. Finally, I'm going to take number 10, Pink Crystal, who is draw 4. Won last start. It was a restricted race listed for fillies and mares at Ayr. She's been really coming on lately, a little better. She's had some good runs overall this season. And the win last time out, I think, starting to get into form and staying there. She hasn't had bad runs. And I just think we got a good chance to hit the board.
All right. And then for me in this race, Thomas, I am going to lean towards on my top pick. Let's put in the 7-horse Dark Trooper at 11-2. This one has 2 for 2 at Ascot. Big fan of the distance. Ran it 6 times. Has a quartet of wins a second and been on a roll, winning 4 in a row. Pink Crystal, the one that you like there, I have in there my second pick, Thomas. Tends to run well when it's in form. Won her last race and does pretty well in the second starts after a layoff. Comanche Falls, the 1-horse, is my third choice. This one runs best on its good surfaces, which is you're going to get tomorrow. And at the distance, 12 wins in 32 races. So based upon that, about a 1/3 chance to win. And the odds are spot on perfect. That's 7-2. And then finally, number 3, a little bit of a price for me in Jumbie. Jumbie at Ascot, 4 times out, a winner and a third. The last 2 races were awful. So I'm kind of hoping the odds continue to go back. But I kind of rewound through some of the past 3 race cycles. And the first 2 at times looked like crap. And then that third one, boom, out of nowhere, pow, a winning effort. So I hope that one can repeat that performance at something higher than 18-1. I don't think the predictor is going to have Jumbie in the picks, Tom.
You never know.
It says, bam, Dark Trooper is your winner. Garrus is second. Looks like NF. And then Jumbie, Comanche Fall, and Juan Le Pins is in there for, 6th place. So that's you got your superfecta in there. One last race to go, my friend, Thomas, for the second foreign Friday in a row. We made it 2 in a row. Any ideas what we might do next weekend?
No, I haven't looked yet. But the weekend after is the British Championships weekend, so we will be definitely doing Ascot.
And then the week after that's the Melbourne Cup, right?
Yeah, well, that's the beginning of the first Tuesday in November.
All right. Well, we're not that far away. 3 weeks from that. All right, 7 furlongs for the Howden Challenge Cup. 7 furlongs, much like 6 furlongs and 5 furlongs. They're just going to start here, run down that straightaway. Again, pay attention to races 1 and 3. See where you want to be. You want to be on the inside. You want to be on the outside. You want to be in the middle. Can give you a little bit of an edge, maybe a tiebreaker for you. So I'm
now,
sure.
This field, you could see them break off.
Yeah, because what is it, 18 horses or something like that?
Yeah, it's a full field of 18.
Mm-hmm. So when they're done running, break off or not, who's going to win?
I'm pick number 7. Roche Cullen is my top choice. Draw 17. Won last out at Goodwood in a Class 2 race, handicap at mile. Got up by a head. In the past, this horse has not fared well at the big gut money handicaps. But this time around, they're dropping it in distance, back to 7. And its record at 7 furlongs is interesting because it has 29 starts, which is the majority of what it's been doing in its career. Has 6 wins, 2 seconds, and 4 thirds. I'm not thrilled with the post position, but he's really can't come up with anything else to really not put him on top. I think the drop in distance is going to help, and I like the odds. Number 18, Hickory is my next choice with draw 2. It's good at 7 furlongs. Ran a nice third last out at Ascot, and then ran a second previously at Ascot. There's been a little bit of break between those races, but not significant. This is a very lightly raced 5-year-old. Only 9 starts and has 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Only has a novice win on the turf, so I should point that out. But it did attract William Buick to ride. And at least that's what I've got now. So I know they've got that listed, but we'll see. Maybe there's going to be a change. Not sure. But Benoit is pretty good. He's first call for he does a lot of riding for Gosden, among others, and so we'll see. Finally, I'm going to take number 17, Pearl d'Or, with draw 9. The one last time out at Newbury, going 7 furlongs over the heavy going in a Class 3 handicap. He's really raced well since July, with 2 wins, a second and a third. And it's been in a mixture of class races going from 4 up to 2. But all these races have been at 7 furlongs. So to me, they've got the distance right. Now the question is, can he do something here?
Can he find his way into
that last race? I'm going to have to say yes.
Yeah, 18-1. If he says yes, that's a good number to go. I'm going to start with the 5 horse.
You're going to get good odds on this race to begin. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're going to get good odds.
Yeah,
so
I think
figure this race out, you're going to do just fine.
So 7-1. It looks like about 5-1 right now is the betting favorite, which is really pretty solid, as you mentioned. And Quinault is my pick. He's the 5 horse, not 5-1. He is about 5-1. So he's about 7.5-1. Math, Richard. It's difficult, right? Anyway, this
like challenges.
Yeah, it can be. No one told me there was going to be math on this test. Quinault, Ascot, 2 times out, a win and a third. So definitely likes the track, but he really prefers the distance. Twice, won them both. And when the surface is good, the horse runs its best. Number 18, one that we have in common, Thomas. Hickory. That's another 15-2, 7.5-1. See, my math skills are on par now. Again, another one that seems to find its best strides when the surface is a little bit firmer. Again, at Ascot, a couple times out, a second and a third. So definitely not intimidated by that straight run. And at the distance, 4 out of 5 in the money with a win. Number 12 gets the next call from me. Maywake, 14-1 right now. Another that runs his best when the track is good and is coming off a very strong performance, tends to run well in bunches. And then finally, to close out the show, number 1, Popmaster, 8-1, mixed bag on a good surface. This horse is either really good or really bad. So I'm hoping that the really good version shows up. Maybe the bettors looks like right now they're expecting the bad version as the odds are kind of rising a little bit. So let's hope they rise some more. And he tricks the bettors and the really good version shows up. And he's done okay at Ascot, 9 times out, a couple of wins and a couple of seconds. And the predictor says in this wide open race, you might want to look at how all the horses on the bottom are winning. Fresh. Not a name I recall either one of us saying in here.
Nope, we did not.
Bless him. Another name neither one of us mentioned. Looks like Quinault is in the mix there. You didn't mention him either, right?
You picked him on top.
Oh, yes, there he is. I forget. I'm old. First thing to go. I do have Popmaster too. And
we both have Hickory.
So looks like maybe we might find. So I should have probably picked this one with my last name, Biggles. That's probably should have been my top pick right there for sure. All right, Thomas, that wraps up.
You're going to get good odds. So if you can figure this race out, you should collect.
And I will post all of our thoughts and comments over on horseracingtoday.net in a little bit. I have some stuff I got to do this afternoon, but it will all be up there before the racing gets started tomorrow morning at Newmarket and at Ascot. So make sure you head on over to horseracingtoday.net. While you're here, kindly hit the subscribe button, hit the bell while you're on YouTube. Follow us on all of our social sites below. Our Swiss Army Sean does a phenomenal job of keeping people entertained on social media with great information. And then again, there's a link down in the description below. You can use it to get our official Woodford Stakes wagering guide for Keeneland tomorrow. 5 races. I feel like we got some pretty strong competitors in there, some good short prices, some nice long shots in there. So I think it'll be a nice day of racing in Kentucky. Again, that's available at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. Any final thoughts, Thomas, before you and I get out of here on this Foreign Friday?
I would say the first race we did, the Newmarket race, watch that for Breeders' Cup potential, because I think there may be 2 horses that come out of that race that may end up heading for California.
Indeed. And again, we'll have an announcement on our social sites, but our plans for the Breeders' Cup about a month away from tomorrow, I think 4 weeks from tomorrow. So we'll have a lot of information for that. certainly going to be the crescendo of the 2023 horse racing season. We'll be on top of all of that. No matter what you're doing between now and the time we get back together again on Monday, Terry and I, for Parks, which will be at about 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you, again, hit the subscribe button, follow us, and that you, of course, benefit from all of God's blessings, and that every single thing that you do ends up, Thomas, in the
winner's enclosure.
Indeed. And I forgot to put our ending on here, so just get the horse racing to day one. Have a great day, everybody.